In this lesson, we will go over how the external force of gravity, tension points, and the characteristics of fabric shape the clothing we wear. So we all know what gravity is. It's defined as the force that attracts a body towards the center of the earth. So in this example, you can see the middle portion of the cloth is being pulled down by gravity and creating this U shape. And the 2 points that are holding it up would be referred to as tension points. Now these are areas where the fabric pushes, grabs, or compresses. And we'll go over in a later video how that relates to the figure. So the last aspect of fabric is its characteristics. And what I mean by that is what kind of fabric it is. Is it a thick denim, a thin silk, or a cotton t-shirt? All these fabrics are going to react to gravity and tension points in a different way. So if I jump to this example, you can see that the shirt on the right is thicker and is holding its shape a bit better and has less compressed folds. So the tension point would be here, and this is sort of its overall shape, and it's creating less compressed folds. And then the one on the right is a thin sheer fabric, which doesn't hold its shape as well and is creating more tension and compressed folds. So here is the tension point, and it's creating much smaller overall shape, and it's not holding its form as well. So with those concepts in mind, let me demonstrate how I would go over tackling sculpting this hanging fabric from the first example. So I'm just going to jump over to ZBrush, and I've went ahead and loaded my reference images into Spotlight. I've also kind of blocked out this mesh. All it is just a sphere that I pulled the ends up to kind of create these tension points up here, and then create a bit of a U shape. So we're just going to concentrate on this middle portion right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get out of my X symmetry, and I'm going to go to Fold 01, and I'm just going to focus on this fold right here that comes down and then cuts in. So what I'm probably going to do is just create this feeling that it's cutting in. So actually, let me grab my clay buildup, just create this little notch right in here so that it looks like it's coming down and then in. So go back to Fold 01, and then I just want to just sculpt this first fold out. Just smooth it out a little bit. So, and then I just want to go to my move brush and make sure that it feels like it's hanging down. And then I just want to come back to Fold 01 and put a little bit more gravity on there. And then just sculpt this first one out and then in. And now what I want to do is I want to focus on this second fold right here that comes down, crosses over, and then goes right down here and then back into this fold. So we're just going to come down and then back up. So, those are going to be the first 2 folds right there. And then I just kind of want to fix this. I want to make sure I'm turning to the side. You see I got a little bit of a bump here. So what I want to do is just kind of push that in with the move brush. I want to make sure that I'm looking at my reference and making sure that these lines are coming down and giving the feeling of gravity. So I want to make sure I check this side as well. Kind of push this in. And then also you can kind of see that this creates this plane right here. So I kind of want to push this in to make this plane right here. So I just want to make my brush a little bit bigger. Probably would just want to maybe mask this section off and just kind of pull this area back a little bit. Give the feeling that it's actually kind of going under and creating that plane. So what I probably want to do is just knock this back a little bit. because we're not going to worry about the folds on the sides. We're just going to worry about this middle section for right now. This is just going to be a really quick exercise, a really rough sculpt. So I'm just going to go trim dynamic and just flatten this out a little bit. So just knock all this back. And then what I'm going to do is, since this is coming down, actually I just want to kind of define this second fold again. I think I sort of lost it a little bit. So I'm just going to go with the clay buildup and just kind of work on it a little bit. And then also maybe carve this out, because I'm not really getting that feeling of it creating this notch right here. So I just want to carve it out a little bit and then make sure I get the feeling that it's coming down and around. So I think this is a little bit too much. Kind of bring it back and then just fill it in a little bit. So I kind of want to create this shape that comes down and then up. So I'm just going to take my move this down, and then just kind of nudge this around until we get the shape that we want. I'm going to take my trim dynamic, and you can see that there's a plane right here. So I'm just going to knock this back until I get that plane that I want. So, and then make sure that these lines are matching up. And I'm creating this sort of sharp fold that, you know, in the reference it kind of folds in on itself, but for this demo we're just going to focus on just this middle section. So I'm going to just do the same thing on the other side. Just take my trim dynamic and just flatten it out. So just keep flattening it and then just fix it with the move brush, the lines. So then what I want to do is probably take my fold 01 and I just want to create some of these secondary folds in here. So just want to hold down Alt, use the inverted of fold 01. So just bring this up, kind of create these folds that are kind of coming in on itself. And then I want to take my move brush and actually want to move this up a little bit. So if we look at it, we can kind of see it's coming down and then around and into here, but it's also creating this this under part right here. So here we go. So I think we got the overall shape. Actually, let me just go to the clay buildup and just make sure that this is feeling right. And then actually, let me bring this out just a touch so it feels like it's kind of coming down and then in. So now we probably want to go to fold 02 and then just create some tighter folds. So what I want to do is just kind of create this edge right here. And then fill it in a little bit. Then, you know, put a little bit of a sharper edge to it. And then just kind of make sure I'm fixing my lines. I probably want to go to fold 02 and just knock this gravity down just a little bit. So what I want to do now is just kind of come in here and then create these secondary folds. So it's going to come down and then kind of it's sort of folding in on itself a little bit. So I just want to make sure that this is reading. So just want to bring this up and then like it's folding in. And then creating this little fold right here. And then what I want to do is just do the same thing on the other side, just kind of tighten up a little bit. And then bring it down and then kind of create this right there, and then just smooth it out a little bit, and then just kind of create a little bit more tightness in this fold because it's a bit of a stiffer fabric, so it's holding its shape a little bit better. And this is just going to be really quick. We're just going to add some secondary folds in here. This one comes up, and then just going to sharpen this edge a little bit. Now, if we had a little bit more time, we probably could refine this a little bit more, and we'll go over that in the future lessons in this tutorial series. So I'm just going to focus on just getting the ideas of tension points and gravity and the characteristics of fabric across just through this really simple sculpt. So I'm just going to fix this line. And what I probably want to do is just go to Foldo 2 and just kind of bring this up so it feels like it's real. There's a lot of tension coming from these points. And maybe just put like a small little fold in there. So, and we'll probably just clean it up real quickly by going to geometry and going to clay polish and then just hitting clay polish once. So, and there you go. So just a really quick sculpt, a really quick exercise, just to kind of get these points across. And just to recap, we went over the external force of gravity, tension points, and the characteristics of fabric. In the next lesson, we'll go over underlying forms. So I'll just see you in the next lesson.